I begin in the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Especially Merciful. I'm reading right now a book called God's Shadow. It's a biography of Sultan Salim, who's known as Salim the Grim, by Alan Mikhail. And in this, I found some interesting chapters about Columbus. So we all know about Columbus, but one thing that is normally overshadowed is how much he is motivated by an anti-Islamic rhetoric. And to be honest, I'm not even mad. I'm not quoting this to be like, oh, look, what an Islamophobe. I'm quoting this to be like, this whole idea of like, oh, Muslims believe in this holy war that no other religion believes in is just not the norm. Throughout history, Christianity was often motivated to this idea of a holy war. And in this book, it makes it very, very clear. Columbus grows up in this environment of the Crusades. And in the Crusades, when Christian warriors, they go to attack Muslim lands, they often kill many other religions along the way. And once again, even though the Crusades were very, very brutal, and the things Columbus did were very, very brutal, and his allies like Isabel were very, very brutal, in principle, for someone to be motivated through Christianity, I don't really have a huge problem with. So the reason why Columbus was looking for, he was going on his expedition, the way that he describes it to Isabel in order to convince her to finance his journey, is that Marco Polo, when he went to India, he found some Christian leader called the Great Khan. And the way that Marco Polo describes it is that the Great Khan said that if Europe sends him help and sends him preachers, they will unite together, and the Great Khan will attack the Ottomans from the east, and the Europeans can attack the Ottomans from the west. Because the Europeans were very, very frustrated that they could not trade or communicate with the east without going through the Ottomans on the east. And before Columbus, you had King Henry the Navigator, who tried to find an alternative route through Africa. Because at that time, they didn't believe that you could go through the equator, go beyond the equator. So when he went beyond the equator and he got to Western Africa, he realized that Islam had already been there first. So he was really turned off by this idea that now we have the Ottomans in the east and we have Muslims in the south. And Isabel and her husband, they were already taking on this huge crusade against the Muslims in Spain. They took over Granada, they expelled the Muslims from Spain, forcing conversions or asking people to flee. So this was very much the motivation behind, financing Columbus. Columbus explicitly asked her to finance this as a means of a worldwide domination and attack on Islam or the Islamic empires. Another one of his major motivations was this myth that when Muslims took over Spain, these 7 leaders escaped with a lot of gold. So Columbus was looking for these cities of gold in order to finance the crusades against the Muslim world. And once again, I'm not even mad. Even though many of the things he did were absolutely horrible, I think it's totally normal at this time in the world where you don't have a secular state to attach yourself to Christianity to motivate your conquests. I just want people to be aware of that this was a very common thing in Christian lands, just like it was in Muslim lands.